At the beginning of a Broadway show, the lights dim, the music plays, and the audience waits for the spotlight to hit the stage. When the main actor appears, the story begins. So it is with leadership. When you become a leader, the people wait for you to step into the spotlight on center stage. All eyes are fixed on you, waiting to see who you are, waiting to see what you will say and what you will do. After all, you are the leader. What if the spotlight appeared on that stage and you were not in it? What would happen then? The people would be confused. They would wonder where you were. They would think that you didn't understand your role until they realized that you are a different kind of leader. You're not seeking the spotlight. In fact, you've walked off the stage to find the light crew. You will shift the focus of the spotlight to the people you've been asked to lead. You will lead the people to daring destinations far beyond their imagination. You will focus intensely on serving them well along the journey. You will help them discover meaning in their work and principles in their actions. You will dare to serve. Hello, my name is Cheryl Batchelder. I serve as the CEO of a restaurant chain called Popeyes Louisiana Kitchen. I am married, the mother of 3 daughters, and I am a follower of Christ. My passion and calling is to develop great leaders, and as such, I am fascinated by leadership. What is great leadership? What are the traits of the leader that bring out the best in the people? How does the leader drive superior performance results? About 15 years ago, I began to study leadership with a newfound intensity. I'd been working for large public companies for over 20 years. I'd been promoted numerous times, and I'd worked for a wide range of people. Some were great leaders, some were terrible. I started looking at the traits of the leaders I had loved, the ones that had inspired my best performance. I discovered that the leaders I admired most weren't only great to work for, but they also led their teams to remarkable results. During this journey, I uncovered something that you in your heart of hearts already know. Our favorite leaders have motives that go beyond self-interest. They serve a purpose greater than themselves, and they serve us well. They shun that spotlight for themselves and instead shine the light on others. In doing so, they create an amazing work environment, and we perform our very best for them. As Christians, we find this kind of leadership illuminated in the Bible, with the ultimate example in the life and leadership of Jesus Christ. He was and is the leader who dared to serve us all. Over the next 8 weeks, this discussion guide will help you think about your leadership point of view. We will discuss the ideas and principles in the book Dare to Serve, sharing your own experiences and exploring the leadership messages in the Bible. I hope through this conversation you will gain a richer understanding of how servant leadership can be a courageous path to accessing the best performance of your team while bringing honor and glory to the God that we serve. Just what is this notion of Dare to Serve leadership? A Dare to Serve leader is courageous enough to take people to a daring destination, yet humble enough to selflessly serve others on the journey. This dynamic tension between daring and serving creates the conditions for people to deliver superior performance. Daring and serving. Do you feel the tension between the leadership traits of courage and humility? You may be thinking, I've never met a leader like this. But think about it. Would you want to work for a leader like this? Would you want to be a leader like this? These are the conversations we will have together over the next several weeks. Are you ready to begin? Our theme for session 1 is this: who will we serve? When I was named CEO of Popeyes in 2007, The performance of the business could not have been much worse. Sales were declining, guest satisfaction was worst in class, restaurant profits were down, morale was terrible. What better time for a grand experiment in leadership? We assembled a team of talented individuals. We locked ourselves in a conference room and began to debate how we would change the direction of this company. How would we lead Popeyes to sustained success? We began by talking about what kind of leaders we wanted to be. We started to make this list of traits that we admired in the best leaders of our careers. Interestingly, the conversation quickly turned to the opposite, the traits that characterized the worst leaders we'd met along the way. On our flip chart, we listed words like self-absorbed, arrogant, and condescending. And before we knew it, we were telling stories to one another about the difficult people we had worked for. It became a "can you top this" contest. It was a turning point in our leadership of Popeyes. Our first decision as a team, we did not want to lead like them. We started talking about our favorite leadership philosophies, and one person mentioned a book that had been influential in his life, titled Leadership is an Art by Max De Pree. The book, published in 1989 by the then CEO of Herman Miller Incorporated, put forth a novel idea that leaders are stewards of the people and the organizations they lead. When leaders create environments where followers thrive, the business performs well. One member of the team said, "I think there's a name for this kind of leadership. Give me a minute to do a web search." He said there was a man named Robert Greenleaf who wrote about a leadership approach called servant leadership. It was about serving the people well above self-interest. That's it, serving others over self. We quickly agreed that this servant leadership notion would guide us going forward. But that led us to the second decision. If we were going to serve people well at Popeyes, who would we serve? We listed all the possibilities on a conference room flip chart. The guest, the team members, the franchise owners, the board of directors, the shareholders, the regulators, the accountants. Have we missed anybody? Someone said, "Don't we have to serve all of those people?" It is true, we have many choices of people to serve. They are all important. Would we serve them equally, or would we pick one as our primary focus? At Popeyes, we chose to serve the franchise owners well as our first priority. Why? Because our franchise owners put everything on the line, risking far more than the rest of us. They borrow money and invest it in building Popeyes restaurants, hiring and training restaurant crews, building relationships with the communities and the guests we serve. Without franchisees, we do not have a global restaurant chain. If they are not well served, we cannot serve our guests famous Louisiana recipes. We decided that very day that we would resolve to focus on making our franchisees wildly successful. If we served them well, everyone else would be well served. But then there was one more decision we made. We decided to actually love the people we lead. Now there's a novel idea. Could we love the Popeyes franchisees? As my children were growing up, like most parents, I had a favorite saying to inspire them. It was, "Your attitude is your altitude." They still grimace when I say it, but the message is etched in their minds. Decide how you will approach this day, and in fact, it will determine your day. I have come to understand that the same is true in leadership. Your attitude is your altitude. When we began this journey at Popeyes, the people on our team needed an attitude adjustment. Why? They did not love the people we lead. Instead, our franchise owners were viewed as a giant pain in the neck. As long as we thought of them this way, we would not serve them well. The essential mindset for turning around your organization's performance, your attitude. You must love the people you lead. For Christian leaders, these decisions are based on biblical teaching, both Old and New Testament. We'll start this week with Jesus. Think about it. He was a leader who served. He made decisions daily to serve others over self-interest. He practiced loving those he was called to lead, and in doing so gives us the model for our leadership. Now it's your turn to talk. Today in your discussions, you will explore this idea of servant leadership and go to the Bible for insight as we think about these questions. Do you want to be a leader who serves? Have you decided who you serve? And do you love the people you lead? Let's begin.